Peace and blessings, family. So I'm back at y'all again with this dear sister, Remy, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I want to make sure I say it right. And so she's joining us from Florida. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. You have such a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
So,
Okay.
so what is your full name and what does your name mean?
Ifa bin mi sola, Oshun Remi Egbay diwa. So Ifa brings me wealth, Oshun is beauty, and Egbay crown me.
Wow. So, were you born with that name?
No, I was not born with that name.
Okay, so how did you obtain this name? Like how was you gifted this name? It's beautiful.
My name came through, of course, Dafa and my initiation. So I am an initiate of Oshun, Egbay, and Egungun.
Oh wow. Okay. So you said Egbay, Oshun
Oshun,
and Oshun and
Egungun.
Egungun. Okay. So how did you first discover Isheshe?
Oh, like all of us growing up here in America, I was in church. I went to seminary school. I preached in a pulpit, but it was
Wow.
just something calling me higher, and I just couldn't get away from it. And no one could explain to me the visions and the images I was seeing, the things that I was hearing. Um, and just the things that were happening in my life that clearly pointed toward the Orisha guiding me and protecting me. And I had a fellow brother who was in the tradition, and he had been with me on my journey. He had been watching me, and he called me one day and he said, "You're ready." And I said, "Yes, I'm ready." He said, I'm going to introduce you to my Baba, and I want you to get your first Dafa done. And that first Dafa just opened my spirit up, and I was like, this is it. This is the missing piece to the puzzle for me. And from there on, it was full speed ahead, full speed ahead.
So what is a Dafa for those who may not know?
Dafa is a reading for a lot of people, if you know anything about tarot card readings, but this reading is more in depth. This reading gives you your past, your present, and your future. It gives you the orishas that are there with you, that are protecting you and guiding you. It gives you things that you shouldn't do in life, which are taboos, things that are hindering us from becoming our highest self. So that's what happens in a dafa. And then from there, so it's like we always say, it's like going to a doctor getting a diagnosis.
Mm, mm.
And from that diagnosis, you get a prescription, which is called an ebo. And then we have to pay that ebo. And the work is done then to remove the negative energy that's around us, or to either open up the door for us to continue on our destiny. So that's what a dafa is.
So when you got the Dafa, did it immediately tell you that you would be a child of Oshun, or was that something else totally different?
So my first dafa told me Obatala. And Obatala, of course, we all know is King of the White Cloth.
Mhm.
Um, Oshun, the energy from her, I am an Apetibi. So I was born the wife of Orumala.
Mm.
So that is Oshun's role. And not only that, I have Ibeji. My daughter has Ibeji, and Ibeji are twins in Yoruba language. So everything Ashun, I needed her to help me learn how to love myself, to help me learn how to become at peace with my destiny, and for her to sweeten it up for me. So she came in like the water, the flooding water that just comes in and
Mm.
just says, "Okay, I'm gonna cleanse you. I'm gonna give you change. I'm gonna heal you. I'm gonna bless you. I'm gonna make your life beautiful and sweet." So I needed Ashun to help me understand how to love myself and how to stand up in my truth and who I was. So for that, Yaya just blessed me.
Wow, wow. So when you first got a Batala,
Hmm.
did that happen during a Dafa, or did you have to do another kind of reading or to get more in depth to find out who's your head, who's your, you know what I mean?
When I received my hand of Ifa,
Okay,
when I received my first hand of Ifa, that's when I got more in depth as to my role.
okay.
And from there, it just continued to grow and open up my whole destiny.
So what is a hand of Ifa?
So, a hand of Ifa is getting um, your shrine, your covering of Ifa that protects you and seals you until you go get initiated into Ifa.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's my hand of Ifa.
So after doing that, and then you found out that you were a child of Oshun, how did you feel about that?
I felt honored because growing up here in the Western world, when you think about when Oshun is brought to your attention, it's more of the beauty and the sensuality of Oshun, and I never felt that. I always I didn't. I'm not saying that I didn't feel that I was beautiful or anything like
Right,
that,
I
but
get that.
she is just this beautiful energy of sensuality, of sexuality, of sweetness and all those things. And I'm not saying I wasn't those, but it was like, really? She wants to bless me with her ashe. She wants to be there to protect me and guide me and lead me. I'm honored. I cried. I literally cried because
Wow.
I was truly honored and blessed by her just allowing me to take on that energy of her, to take on the blessings of her. I've always been a peaceful person, but we forget that sometimes Yeye is a warrior too. She
Mhm.
is a warrior. So, and I know I fight for women. I love women. I love children, and I
Mhm.
love to see us fulfilling our destiny. So that's when I realized, oh, yeah, I've been Yeye. I've been that. I've been since I was a young girl. I would babysit for anybody. I wanted to see women become to their fullest potential, to be themselves and to love themselves and to know that they were powerful and know that just because you're feminine and all these things, it doesn't take away from you being a very influential individual.
Mm.
We
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
felt we I think we sometimes put stipulations on what women can be. But Yeye says no. You can be beautiful and be powerful and be a warrior at the same time
Right
because we
on.
have to hold down the home front. We got to take care of these babies and raise these babies. We are very powerful. We play a very intricate part in the lives of the men children. We teach them and raise them. So I was very honored. I was very honored. And I knew that Yeye would continue to help me understand the power within myself.
Right on. Right on. So for your others, you said Egungun and
Egbay.
Egbay.
Yes.
So how did you find out about those two that you would also be initiated to them too?
Going through again another Dafa. I had what is called an OOB done, and it gives you more in depth of the orishas that brought you into this realm. And so, Egbay, I was born on Egbay Day. I was
Oh.
born because in Yoruba there's a 4-day cycle. You have Obatala, you have Ifa, you have Egbay, and you have Shango. So I was born on Egbay. And with that being said, there is different roads and paths of Egbay. And I am what they call Iyalo Day. And
Mm.
Iyalo Day is responsible for all the Egbay on earth. And what Egbay is I know a lot of people hear that as above, so below. So
Mhm.
everything we have in this realm, we have in the heavens. So I have a mother, I have a father, I have a husband, I have children, I have family in Orun, which is heaven, that I promised them I was coming to earth to do all of these wonderful things. And they're there to protect me. My own Ori, my double self. I left a part of me in Orun, my spiritual self, that I have to stay in connection with in order to know my destiny here and to stay on that path here. So, with that being said, Egbay is very important to all of us because we all have Egbay.
Mhm, mhm. So, are there certain things when you think about the egg bay and the egg gongon, is there things you're supposed to do as being initiated to them?
It's different for everybody, but yes, there are certain things that you have to do. There are taboos that come with that. So it just depends on your role of Egg Bay and what Egg Bay has asked you to do. So yes, there are certain things that I can't do and that I can do.
Is that the same thing for a egungun?
Yes, and then you get. And, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead. I was just going to ask you what. So you was explaining Oshun. Uh, can you explain Egbay and Egungun?
Egg Bay and Egungun. So
Yeah, Egungun.
Egungun would. So that is our ancestors. That is the spirit of our ancestors. Egungun, Egbe is the spirit of our heavenly family. So remember, we have our DNA family, but
Hmm.
we have our heavenly family. So those are the differences between Egungun and Egbe. Egungun is your ancestors, that lineage of your family.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. In your daily work, do you find that you're communicating, or is it a reflection of those deities, or you know what I
Every day,
mean?
every day. I can hear them. I can. So before I wake up and go out into the world, of course, I'm there having a conversation with them and asking them to be there with me throughout the day, lead and guide me throughout the day, protect me throughout the day, help me to hear, to see all the things I need to go through that day with as much ease as I can. We're all still human, so there are things that irritate me as well. There are
Mhm.
things that would probably upset me. But when I remember that Egbe is here, Igungun is here, my ancestors, all of those energies are around me, helping me to stay with that cool, calm head. Obatala helps me stay cool. So when I think about them, there's times that I have lost it, but there's times that I've had to say, okay, you know what? I can't do this because if I do this, then I have to answer to them afterwards. So they help me kind of stay focused and stay within Iwapele, and that's that balanced character. So I have to walk in that balanced character. That doesn't mean let anybody walk over me or take advantage of me, but I have to speak my truth, stand on it, and move on.
Hmm. How did your friends and family in the Christian tradition, how did they react to you when you started practicing Isheshe?
And I can't say I was really too much worried about anybody but my mother. That's my mother. My
Mm-hmm.
mother is Reverend Doctor.
Oh.
So um, she just said, you know what? I remember my grandmother, her grandmother, she did spiritual work for people. So she wasn't per se a religious person, she was a spiritual individual. She would create potions and different things for people. And she told me that I knew when you grow up that you would eventually, because you had some of that same energy with you, with your candles and your incense and all of those sorts of things.
Mm.
She said, I saw it on you. So when I finally did have the conversation with her, she was like, okay, that's your path, that's your destiny.
Mm.
Go ahead and do it. She said, just be careful. And she embraced it.
Right
Um,
on.
as far as anybody else was concerned, I wasn't concerned about what anybody else thought. It was more what my mother thought because I wanted us to still have that relationship and that, love for each other. So anybody else, it didn't matter.
Right
And
on. That's beautiful.
when I realized I knew I was on the right path when it felt good to my spirit. But not only that, when my daughter, she just out the blue called me one day and she said, "Mom, you're practicing something different. What is it that you're practicing? I need to know it." That's when I knew I was lining it up for my family to come into this, come back to who they truly were and to live their destiny. So I was very grateful. I was very grateful that now I heard the calling. I heard them saying, "Come." It needs to understand what this is. Some of them still kind of say, "Oh, she's practicing voodoo," but it doesn't stop me because I know this is my destiny and my path.
Right
And
on.
literally, you still call me and ask me for prayer, so I must be doing something right.
That's so true. So you're in Florida.
Yes.
What is it? You're in Jacksonville.
Hmm.
Um, what is it like there? Are there a lot of people who are practicing non-Abrahamic religions, or is it like cityfied? Is it countryfied? Is it what is your environment like?
Okay, so I have only been in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, for about 8 months now.
Okay.
Yes. After I came back from being initiated, and before I was initiated, I knew I needed to live around a big mass of water. Um, and so I had to have a Dafa done, and I had to move to Florida because I had to be by the water. There were three other locations that I chose, and Ifa said no to each and every last one of them except for Florida.
Mm,
Um, I have to be able to be around the water. I have to be able to go to the water. And so, with that being said, there are people here that practice traditional Isheshe. There are people here that are willing to learn traditional Isheshe. Every time I go somewhere, there's somebody that's drawn in either by my gaze or just
mm,
hearing my bangles from Yeye or just the energy that was placed, the ashe, let me say it that way, the ashe that was placed on me from initiation, that just kind of draws people in and makes them curious. So I say there are a lot of people that are curious, there are a lot of people that are open to the tradition here, and there are a lot of people that are like, "What is that? Why are you doing that?" But for the most part, I get a lot of good energy. It's very city here. It's a lot different than what I thought it would be. But all in all, I found my peace here because it's the water. The water here is so soothing. There's water everywhere you go here. So it just reminds me of Yeye. It reminds me of Olokun. It reminds me of Yemoja. It reminds me of all of those energies that govern the water that keeps me. Because there was times I wanted to leave. Please believe me, coming here was not easy for me. People think, oh, because you're in traditional Isheshe, that everything is going to go smooth and easy for you. No, there's been some times I've had to toil and cry and, you know, really tell myself, no, you're going to be disciplined and you're going to stay because this is where Ifa said you would be blessed at. So it hasn't been all peaches and cream, but it has been an experience of moments that I'd never exchange for anything else because it brought me closer to my Ori. It's brought me closer to my ancestors and to Egbay and to Oshun. So it's just given me the understanding of being disciplined.
mm. So where are you from originally?
I was born in Detroit, Michigan.
Ah, Detroit. Okay. Okay. So you moved from Detroit to Florida?
No, no, no.
Okay.
Detroit. I moved here from Texas. I left Louisiana. I was in Louisiana where I think when in Louisiana is where the spirit was very heavy for me. It was very,
Mm,
because ah you have the tradition there. You have the tradition in so many ways there. You have that land and that energy of our people there, and what transpired on that land that just speaks
mhm,
to you in such a different way, that it opens you up to the spirits that are there, that'll lead you and guide you. That's Indian land, that's Native American, excuse me, that's indigenous. So that land, those people, the 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 sacrifice and everything that happened there, it's in the ground there. So I believe just being there also opened me up to wanting to know more. It was there that I start to have a lot of my visions. It was there that I was told what to do, and there were certain things. There's a long story behind this that I'm just kind of not going into, but short story, I was on the run, and I hid out in Louisiana. And during
wow.
that time of hiding out, I couldn't hide from the spirit. I couldn't
Mm,
hide from the Orishas. They were there leading and guiding me. And when I had to listen and go turn myself in, just things that happened where Ogun just came in and opened up cells, and it was amazing. It blew my mother's mind. So from there I knew these Orisha got me. I got to find out who these Orisha are. I got to find out who these energies are. I have to find out what is my true destiny. It's been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey. I can't tell it enough. Can't
mm.
tell it enough.
So you went from Detroit to Louisiana
To Texas.
to Texas to Florida.
Yes.
All of those are good places, though.
They are. They are. Because I met some amazing people in all of those places that really helped me on my journey, that saw the true essence of who I was, and that helped me understand who I was. It's amazing how when you meet good genuine people who will feed into your spirit because they know who you are spiritually. They're not looking at who you are physically,
Hmm.
or they're not looking at the moments that you have in life, because we have moments in life,
That's
and
true.
those moments give us understanding, overstanding, understanding that leads us to our highest destiny.
How did you connect with your spiritual teacher? Or have you had a lot of spiritual teachers?
I connected with my spiritual teacher through a mutual friend. And then from there, I just start people, it just opened up the door for the blessings of all my teachers, because I can't just say it was one teacher, you know, just like in a village. You can't, everybody teaches you in a village. So I have
Hmm.
a village of people who have taught me, who have picked me up and said, come on, let's carry you because you have somewhere to go. And I have to say, I give thanks to all my teachers. So when I think about my teachers, I think about Baba Ifa Shegun, Baba Ifa Shola, Baba Ifa Jiminire, Baba Elliott, Baba Ifa Bunkami. So I've had great teachers in my life that has said, you know what, come on, we got you. You have a long journey, but we're gonna help you through this journey. I even was blessed to have Mama Yaya Fini do my first reading ever. She
Wow.
was amazing. She and I've not spoken to her again since then, but she really was a pivotal point in my life. She did my very first reading. She told me who my grandmother was. She told me, you come from a long line of powerful women. And that opened up the door for me to have that conversation with my mother.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So when you said all those people's names at the time when you were in their presence, did you know you were going to be on this kind of journey? Did you know there was something great lying ahead for you?
I've always known it. Ever since I was a little girl, I just didn't know how I was going to get into it, what it was going to be. because I used to have conversations with my spiritual protectant, my angels, the Egbay. I had conversations with them as a little girl. I remember those conversations. I remember knowing that there was something more to my life. Um, so when I started, as I was talking to them explaining to me who I was or helping me to understand who I was just made me say, oh, wow, that's why I felt this way, or that's why I had those visions, or that's why I've been doing certain things all my life. I've been doing it my whole life. I just didn't know what it was.
Mm,
I didn't
mhm.
know what it was. And it makes so much sense now.
What work do you do with the Egungun that did it intensify when you got initiated to it, or were you always in tune to your ancestors?
I was always in tune to them, but it intensified after initiation. I remember when I was there, that energy was something more than I can even explain. I remember being told, go there with no expectations because you can't even imagine. So it was beyond what I could have ever, I can't even explain it
Mm,
to the common person because the energy and the visions and things that I can hear now. I was hearing them before, but I can hear them and understand or overstand and understand what they are, who they are, and why they are. I remember having a dream where I heard them and I didn't understand who they were, excuse me. Now I understand who they are when I hear the voices. I understand that it's not voices of, for lack of a better words, demonic voices. You know, people like to say, I hear all these voices in my head and they're telling me what to do. And the voices that I hear warn me. The voices that I hear let me know, look, don't make that decision. Come talk to us. It's an energy that, hold this one second. It's one of my godsons.
that's all right. That's all right.
Uh, the energy is of a peace and a love that nobody could ever imagine.
Mm,
It's a peace and a love that lets you know we're here and we got your back. We rooting for you. We fighting for you. But you got to understand you are amazing.
mm.
And once I understood how amazing I was and how amazing they are, because without them, I'm nothing. But with them, I'm everything. When I go out the door, come with me. Don't let me go by myself. Their energy is so sweet.
Are there similarities between Christianity and Isheshe that you've seen? Is there an overlap sometime somewhere?
Um, I understand why Christianity is, but for me, there's not an overlap. For me, it's traditional Isheshe. I can understand Christianity, and I can understand that some of us chose that destiny, and that some of us have to live out that destiny. Um, I like to say a lot of times God says that He would find a way to get to His people no matter what. And when I say God, I mean Olodumare.
Mhm,
So going through Christianity and going through seminary school, it opened my spirit up to more.
mm,
So I would never say anything negative about it. What I would say is it opened me up to wanting to know more. It opened me up to say, this isn't for me, but I'm grateful for what it did for me. I'm
mm,
grateful for, because there are some takeaways from the Bible that, would kind of go in with Isheshe, because we know that all they all that was done was it was taken, and it was, for a lack of a better words, it was watered down and manipulated for control.
mm.
for control of the destiny of those that were chosen to walk this path, to try to confuse us.
Mm. Now, it's interesting that you say that. So have you traveled to Africa at all?
I was initiated in Africa.
Okay, so you went to
I was
Nigeria?
initiated in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria.
So what was that experience like? What was it like? Was that your first time or have you already been
Yes,
before?
it was my first time. It was absolutely amazing. I I want to live there. I want to go back every moment I can to see our people and the hustle in our people and the love in our people. It was amazing for me. It was the best experience of my life. Oh, it was the best experience of my life. To actually walk there with no shoes on my feet and let that earth in that feet, let that energy come up through my feet and have that,
Mm,
ah, I can't even explain it. When I say, you can see it all over me. It was
yeah.
so beautiful. The sisters there were absolutely beautiful. The children, everybody there. It was a beautiful experience. It was beautiful for me. It was
Wow.
beautiful for me to see our people and how they move and how they operate every day. It was beautiful. It was a peace. It was a serenity. I remember being on the pagoda, and the pagoda is the top of the building, and I could see every top of every house. I could hear the children playing. It was amazing. It was amazing. The land, the people, the smell in the air. I can smell it now. It was absolutely amazing for me.
Did you feel connected to the place itself, the
Yes,
people, the
yes.
surroundings?
I felt at home. I never felt any fear of anything. I felt right at home. I felt at home. I felt
Hmm,
love.
wow.
I,
Th that's just
I,
beautiful. That's just
I,
beautiful. I can see it in your face.
and that's why I tell people it's nothing I can even explain. It's an experience that I would just want to take everybody back with me, just to experience the love, the love of some of the elder women. I remember there was an elder woman there, and she said, "Just take me back to America with you. Please take me back." And then when they see me and I smile, they're amazed by my smile because there are so many people over there that have what they call ginger rice or open teeth,
Mhm.
that they're like, "You're from here. You don't even you realize you're from here. Don't ever change that about you. Stay that way." That lets us know you're really from here. This is your home. There was a group of women that were spiritual that came to my initiation that didn't know that my initiation was going on at the time. And they are the lead of the women in Nigeria. And they embraced me like
Mm,
a mother or grandmother would. And I had these beautiful women that told me, from now on, you can call us and we're there for you. I
mm,
mean, and when they opened their arms to me, I felt like I had 15 mothers and 15 grandmothers, 15 sisters and
mm,
aunties. They just embraced me and held me so tight. They said, "You're home. Welcome
mm.
home." Ah, I felt so much love. I can never say anything other than it was love. Love on top of love on top of love.
So what was it like for you coming back to the US?
I didn't want to come back. If it wasn't for financial reasons, I wouldn't have came back. I would have tried to stay. But when I came back, I understood that my sisters needed me here, that my family needed me here, because I was bringing back something that we all needed.
Mm,
And that was the love, the understanding, the peace, the spirit of the tradition.
mhm,
I was bringing it back with me, and then I had to spread it out. I had to give it to whoever was in my presence, whoever came to me and asked me, "What is it about you that's different?" Or they just looked at me like the young lady I'm here with now. We met at a bimbe, and she was just her and her daughter were just looking at me, and it was just the energy of Yeye Oshun, of Egbay and Egungun, that
mm,
just exudes, and it just draws those people into you, and that you can be of assistance to, because we're all family and we're all connected. So I didn't go get initiated just for me. I
mhm,
went and got initiated to bring it back, to let my sisters know, to let my children know, to let uh, everyone know the beauty of it. Once we realize who we truly are and operate in that, there's nothing we can't do or can't have. It's beautiful.
mm. That just sounds beautiful. Like, so, have you been to the African village in South Carolina?
I have. I was actually just there for King's Day. I am a painter. Egbay, when I was having my Dafa done, Egbay told me that I would I would make my biggest success by painting. And I used to sketch and draw when I was younger, and I started painting. So I went up, what was that, 2 weeks ago for King's Day, and actually auctioned off some paintings. And
Mm,
to me, that feels, to me, that's Eshu. So if you guys know anything about Eshu,
mhm,
Eshu is going to do as Eshu wants to do. You have to let Eshu be.
mm.
um, and it reminds me of that. It gives you that same feeling when you go there. I love the village in South Carolina. It gives you that home of it gives you home. It gives you that experience of Africa.
Mm,
It does. It does.
that's what's up. So, did you spend a lot of time there?
I didn't. And that was the thing. I have, since I've been back from initiation, but prior to the initiation, I heard about the village. I had read about the village. I had watched videos about the village, but until I came back, I had never been there. And I tell everybody, it wasn't my journey to go there first. It was
Right.
my journey to go to Africa first, and
Mm,
then come back and go there. And it's okay, because some people journey is to start there and then to
that's
go
so true.
abroad. It's just my destiny and what I chose before I came here. And that's
Right
what we
on.
have to understand. We choose our destinies. We choose our destiny. So when it goes wrong, we can't blame anybody else, even though it's not a blame thing, but we have to go within.
Understand.
We have to
Yeah.
go within. She tried to cover up her face as she was yelling.
That's all right. That's all right. Um, is there a certain place you're trying to get to in this tradition?
Just to live
Like, do
my
you want to
highest
have
self.
an Elay? Do you want to have
If
godchildren? Do
that's
you want...
within my destiny, if that's within my destiny, I want to do what's within my destiny.
Right on, right on. So is this something that is constantly unfolding as you get more
It's
of the
constantly
dafas?
unfolding for me. As I get more of the dafas, it's
Uh-huh.
constantly unfolding for me. Every time I get one, it's like, okay, because it's layers to it. It's layers to it. And you remember, I come from Christianity, so even though I had a spiritual, I still have a lot to learn.
Mhm.
I still have so much to learn that I have to just take it slowly, because I have a long life ahead of me. I have so much to overstand about the tradition within itself. I can't get it all at one time, so it just continues to unfold. And I believe I'm gonna have godchildren. I know that I'm gonna have godchildren. When that will happen, When the Orisha, when
Mhm.
Olodumare, when my Ori says now's the time. Um, am I rushing to do it? No, I'm not rushing. I want it to happen naturally and authentically. I want to make sure that my Ori is in line with everything because it's a personal journey before it's a journey that goes out because it comes down and out. So as
Mhm.
I'm steady, receiving, I have to implement it in my life.
We'll
But
talk. We'll talk.
I do know it will happen.
We'll talk. Elay, do you belong to an Elay? And if
I do.
so, what is that like?
That is it's very loving. It's very my brother, my god brother, my teacher, my Elay, it's they're supportive in every way possible.
Right on.
Um they love me and I love them. I have a small group of women that I work with. A group that the name was given to me probably about 2 years ago. So it's called Daughters of the Sacred Mothers.
Mhm.
And we come in and we talk about what it's like to be a woman in this tradition. What it's like for a lot of them, they are apetibes. What does that look like? What is an
Mhm.
apetibe? What is it like to be a sister wife? Because we believe in having sister wives.
Gotcha.
So we're dissecting all of those things so that we can rid ourselves of what the Western idea of marriage looks like and understanding and overstanding what a traditional Isheshe marriage looks like.
Right on.
So we're learning ourselves and learning to get over a lot of hurt because we as women coming from a Western world, we've been hurt by women, we've been hurt by
Mm.
men, and so now how can I trust another woman to be my sister wife, or how can I trust this man to? So it's a lot of deprogramming to reprogram in order to truly understand what this tradition is about. And it's about community. It's about these children, these babies.
You said a mouthful right there. Um, the daughters of the sacred mothers. I feel like we need a lot of that.
Yes.
Because I think once women, are able to address some of the things that kind of hold us from each other, we
Hmm.
can be so powerful together in terms
So
of just
powerful.
understanding each other, the way we talk to each other, how we relate to each other, even when we do stuff to each other that may be hurtful, may not have been intentional. But how do we work that out so we don't be holding on to them grudges,
Yes.
you know?
And that's my biggest heart's desire is to see us as women heal ourselves. And so we have a lot of women to go to heal or that will come to us. So we have to get it together within ourselves first. So if we can get it together within ourselves, oh my gosh.
Mhm. Tell me about the ancestral crown that you are the owner of.
Ancestral crown is the painting. Um, I remember meeting a Nigerian at work, and he looked at me, and I was studying at the time, and he said, "You're Adishiwa," and I said, "Huh?" He said, "You're Adishiwa," and when I looked up what Adishiwa meant, it meant the crown of beauty. So
Mm,
to me, it was the ancestors crowning me with that. And then when I was told that I'm supposed to paint and that just paint, just put paint to a canvas. So I'm like, ancestral crown. My ancestors have crowned me with this gift to paint
mm,
and to bring life through painting. And so that's where ancestral crown came from. It came to bring beauty through paint, to bring peace through paint, to bring healing through paint. So I've also always worked with children. I have a thing for children with disabilities, autistic children, children that most people wouldn't necessarily want to have anything to do with. I feel like through painting, we can heal a nation. Through paint, we can change the whole world. Color is everything. There's
mhm,
vibrations and energies with color. And so that's where ancestral crown came from. It's here to heal the crown of our people through painting.
Right on. Do you have any book recommendations for people who may want to study more about Isheshe?
So we all know it's an oral tradition, but there are some books. My first book I ever read was Ori, um, ORI. I've read Oshun Across the Waters. Um, I'm trying to think of a couple of books that is in my bag right now. Um, I have the book on the tip of my tongue. It's the power of a women. The power of our mothers. There's a few books, but a lot of mine came from sitting and talking. Even though I read books, I I'd rather sit and talk with an elder
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes the books are Santeria, Lucami mixed in with the Shay Shay. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
taking away from any of those, but I've always wanted to know traditional Isheshe. And I was taught the way to learn traditional Isheshe was to sit at the feet of the elders, was
That's
to
true.
sit at the feet of those that have been in the tradition. So even though I might read a book or I might see something, I'm always going back to an elder and referencing an elder. My godmother is in Nigeria. She's never been to America. So I call her and I talk to her. My god brother, he's been in the tradition. So I talk to him. Um, Babalaos, I talk to them. I try to stay as traditional as I possibly can so that I know the difference between traditional Isheshe and Santeria and Lukumi.
Right on, right on. Sis, thank you so much for
You're
carving out
welcome.
some time to talk to me, share your journey, your story, to share your wisdom. I mean, I'm sitting here, I took a lot of notes. I'm always taking notes. But I love the way there's something very soothing about your voice. There's something very calm in your spirit. So when you talk, it makes it easier to listen and to write. I don't feel rushed. You
Well, thank
answer very thoroughly and you're very straight with it. You know what I mean? You don't dance around it. So I'm very grateful. Thank you so much for giving me this time.
Modupwe, Modupwe. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I want to talk more with you.
Yeah.
I feel
Oh, I
there's a
want to.
connection here. I
Yeah.
feel like there's some questions. I feel like there's some teaching you can give me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm
Um,
just really interested in hearing people's journey. I think part of what we have to do is that we have to talk to each other about this tradition. Excuse me. Excuse me. I don't know where that sneeze came from. So I feel like that's why I do so many interviews because I want people to tell me what's your journey? How did you discover this? Like how has it changed your life? And it's usually always some kind of life changing kind of experience in there. But I think we need to hear it more. I spent a lot of
yeah,
time listening to a lot of interviews. Just like when I was a kid, I would listen to a lot of elders. I would
yeah.
love to sit and listen to elders talk, even if they weren't talking to me.
Hmm,
I
hmm.
still wanted to hear what they had to say. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes,
So yeah, we definitely this is the beginning.
yes. I
So
thank
hold
you
on.
so much.
Don't hang up. Okay, let me just wrap this up. All right, family. I'll be back next week with another interview. Take care, family.